Every daughter is a doodoo from a father's butt. Biologically speaking, that butt is a nut. And every father's wrong. And there isn't a song that can change that.
He said what he said.
I got a doodoo in my butt. And I don't know what to do with the doodoo in my butt. But I know father should say to you, they're just proud of you. Every father is a doodoo from a father's butt. Biologically speaking, oh, that butt is a nut. Have you not heard that? Yes, yes, hail me as I walk down the streets in my robotic gear. I am a robot. Yes, I am. I will open this case, this chest, and then I will unplug my fucking headphones. Ugh. There we go. Golly. Oh, yes, ladies. I will have sex with you all. Watch me. Watch me love you tenderly. That's the one thing you could like rely on with God of War. Cause there was gonna be some titties. How does he keep it up, ladies? Exercise and good eating. You gotta eat lean meat. Stay away from all that salt. A hard dick only stay hard for so long. You gotta have a good heart. Keep that erection going. Alright, I'll leave you now. Slathered in my baby gravy. I like how he was like, get off me, ho. You look tired, soldier. So you've never heard that song before?
No.
It's from Rick and Morty.
Don't remember.
You remember the episode? You remember the episode where they find this we found out that Rick made this place called Fruity Land for Beth when she was a kid. Yeah. That's the song that plays when they're cloning Tommy.
Oh. I know. Yeah, I definitely did not pay attention to this.
Because like when she comes through the portal, like Rick is playing with the he's playing with an acoustic guitar, and he's saying doo doo butt, doo doo butt, which is just Justin Roiland, like.
Have you watched Solar Opposites?
No, not yet.
Are you ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Wait, no, hold on. Wait, hold on.
Because turns out I wrote
Even
this
in
down.
death, a Spartan stands tall.
Because you asked like just
You
as
are a Spartan. Are you not?
Are you not?
Entertained?
Yeah, we find out in this game who Kratos' mother was. We find out who his father was.
Oh, is that a spoiler? Oh.
After the
No.
Great War with the
Kinda.
Titans,
No. No.
The Oracle had
And we find out that he had a brother.
of the Olympian gods.
Who his
and
dad
the
is?
protection of Olympus.
No, his
Oh wait,
brother
Ares is his dad.
She saw
No,
that he could
Ares
be
is the
called
god
out,
of war.
not by the hands
Ares
of
was the man who
titans,
killed,
thirsted
who
for
basically
revenge,
tricked him into
Oh,
killing him.
he
but by the
okay.
hands of a mortal.
What were you finna say? Because I feel like you was
a
finna be
marked
wrong.
warrior.
He replaced him, right?
No. Well, yeah, he replaced
Yeah.
Ares because he killed
Yeah.
Ares.
Yes.
So he didn't have a choice.
Whoever controls
Because
And by
I-
default,
controls
Well, he already
the
had the powers of a god of war because this is where we find out that like there was there was a prophecy that the marked one would take up with yeah, the marked one. Yeah, the marked one was the one that would dethrone Ares. So, and I'm telling you this because you can't see the game. So when they were children,
Forgive me.
Ares and Athena both came to. They came to take one of the boys. They came to take one of the kids, and the thing was that the marked one would be the one to take down Ares. And the problem is, we all could imagine, like we all understand how Kratos is considered the marked one because of his big tattoo. But the problem is, his brother had like this, I don't know if it was like a birthmark or just like a scar or like this burn that like is somewhat in the pattern of Kratos' tattoo. Which is why we're pretty sure that's, you know, you can assume that that's why Kratos has it. And so they took his brother. They took Deimos. Yeah, they just straight up took
what's his name?
Deimos.
Deimos.
And yeah. And like from
That's
that
the Harry Potter prophecy.
the marked one would step
Well,
up.
the kid born on a certain day, at a certain time. Well, Harry Potter and Neville had the same birthday, and so Voldemort sent Bellatrix after Neville, and he went after Harry Potter. So the prophecy could have been for Neville and not Harry.
So we could have literally had an entire book series. There's a universe in which Neville is the main character.
Yes.
I love it. All right, go ahead and tell the story. Cause when it comes to like his mother, I don't remember his mother's name. Like I don't know if they said in the game because I was talking to you when that scene came up. But what happened is like, you know how the gods were all horny and whatnot. She wasn't allowed.
Mm-hmm.
She wasn't allowed to tell Kratos who his father was. And had she done so, like she was basically put under a curse. And if she ever told him who his father was, she would mutate into this beast. And
Oh, so it was Zeus.
yeah.
Yeah, because Zeus is a vengeful dick.
Yeah, but by
He
the
also didn't want Hera to know that he was cheating on her.
yeah, but like everybody already knew like his dad was who his father was. I assume, I don't know. Because mind you, this is the first game I played, so I knew everything. Huh. Like, I know his daughter's name is Calliope. His wife's name, I don't know. It's in that book that you gave me. Like, I don't know how canon it is, but it's in the book. Calliope. Like, I would never name my son Kratos. Like, I know there are people out there who have been named Kratos after the character in God of War. But I would never name my child Kratos. Like, one, I don't care that much about the game series. I love it. But I don't love it more than I love a human. So there's that. But Calliope, on the other hand, I would totally name my daughter Calliope.
Life is cool.
All right, go ahead. Raising Arizona. Racing Arizona. Racing Alabama.
You got one more to go.
No, that's it. It's Racing Alabama. Is it not Alabama?
It was chasing out.
No. Because the movie is Raising Arizona. So
It is Raising Arizona.
So like the play would be that.
I really liked that movie as a kid. What was wrong with it? All I can say is thanks, TBS.
Yeah, TBS used to be shit.
Yeah, they had literally everything from the 80s. It was great. Okay. So again, I wrote this all down, and I wrote this down like literally the day after it actually happened, which was almost a year ago. It happened in like November, I think, or October. Can't remember. And I remember I told Jordan about it, but I didn't tell you because I was like, oh, I'm gonna write it all down so I can read it and while we were like recording or something. And this is how long ago it was. It was when we were kind of recording regularly with Mark. The three of us. Okay. So, I'm just gonna read what I wrote. Alright, here we go. Around 3, I get a message from my roommate that says, I'm stuck on the sideway. Can you help me with a can of gas or no? I immediately knew he was drunk and figured he was stuck with some of his worthless friends. I respond, where? And he just says he is on the interstate somewhere and sends me an Apple map of his location. I open it and he's an hour away. I tell him that he's an hour away, and he goes, I'll pay you. And I say, fine, if you're willing to wait for an hour. And then he says, I have no other choice. So, huh?
Don't worry about it.
Okay. You good?
Yeah, go ahead.
Alright. So, I left. I didn't have a gas can. I also had no idea where he was. Because the Apple map that he sent me was like, it didn't give me like an exact location. It just gave me like the area of where he was. So I was just like, alright, I'm just gonna drive down the highway. But I also didn't have a gas can. So I had to stop at a gas station. I actually ended up going to 2 different gas stations at 3 o'clock in the morning to find a gas can to put 2 gallons of gas into. Then I get back on the highway and I'm driving. Again, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. So it's pitch black outside. And there are barely any lights on the side of the highway. So I'm just driving, and about 45 minutes into the drive, I figured, I should be getting to him pretty soon. So I tried to call him, and I didn't get an answer. I called multiple times, and I didn't get an answer. So I knew that I needed to be like hyper vigilant. So I widened my eyes, and I spotted his car on the side of the highway. It should also be noted that he too drives a black car, and finding a black car in the middle of the night on a highway with no lights is real hard.
Yeah, I get it.
So I spot his car. He doesn't have a single light on. No hazard lights, nothing. It's just sitting there. I pull up. I pull up in front of him, and I get out and I walk to the driver's side door, and I look inside, and he's just passed out. He's just in the driver's seat, just passed out. So I try knocking on the window, like he doesn't wake up. I went to the other doors to like try and open them. They were all locked. So I went back to the driver's side door and I just tried to open it, and it was the only door that was unlocked. So I open the door, I wake him up, and he's like confused. And I think he thought he was like in bed because he just started mumbling and then laid back down. So he finally gets up and like he manages to like figure out what's happening, and he's like upbeat and cheerful, and then he asked me why I was there. And I'm like, you told me that you needed some gas. And he's like, oh, I did? Oh, like his exact words were, I did? Oh man, yes, let's go! Then, as he got out of the car, I watched him. He walked around his car, and he stumbled into a field in the darkness. And I yelled, what are you doing? And he just kept going. And so I went to follow him, but then I saw that he assumed the position, and I was like, oh, he's peeing.
Yeah, I figured as much.
He walked a good 100 feet away from his vehicle to go pee. So then he turns around and he stumbles back up because it was slightly uphill, and he stumbled back up the hill, and on the way up the hill he freaking fell. But then he just popped right back up and just kept going. And so by this time I pulled the gas can out of my trunk, and he looks at me and he again does not even remember why I'm there. He doesn't even know what the gas can is for. And he said, here's where my critical thinking skills let me down. I handed him the can because I didn't know how to use it. He also couldn't use it. Meanwhile, he remains a bit confused about where he is, how he got there, or what is even happening. I'm trying to figure out how to use the can, and he goes, hey, I have a funnel. Would that help? Yeah, that might help. So we get the funnel out of the trunk, and I pour what's left of the gas, because we still have a lot of it. I pour what's left of the gas in the car, and he's freaking out because he has gas on him because the wind was whipping back and forth, and he was also freezing. And he doesn't know where we are because he still hasn't turned his hazard lights on. Semis are just blowing by us. We are like, his car is legit maybe 2 feet away from the side of the road. He did not pull off the road at all. And so like they can't see us in the darkness, so semis are literally just blowing right by us. Like one wrong move and it was over for both of us. So I finally managed to get the gas into the car, and I asked him what he wanted to do, And he doesn't really have an answer. And again, my critical thinking skills let me down because I said, all right, well, then let's move your car further off the side of the road. And I gave him his keys.
Because my
And
problem
he
with this was
said,
like, was he drunk before he ran out of gas?
yes, he was drunk. He was hanging out with his friends, whom I've told you are absolute garbage people. You think I'm a garbage person? They are garbage people because they allow him to get this wasted just so they'll have a good story to tell next time. And because they continue to do it, he just thinks it's funny and continues to get wasted. Um, and he was hanging out with them, and they let him leave. And then he proceeded to drive an hour in the wrong direction on his way home. Where he was is about 20 minutes away from where I live. And he drove an hour in the wrong direction because he was wasted. So I gave him his keys, and he's still like struggling to even figure out like why I'm there. But I'm like, let's get your car off the side of the road. And he's like, F yeah, let's get my car off the side of the road. It's dangerous. And he puts the key in the ignition. He cranks it. The car barely starts. And when he started the car, I believe that autopilot kicked in because he went from
off.
0 to 60 extra quick and just shot straight onto the highway. I was just left standing there with the gas can in my hand, wondering if anyone else had just seen that and what the F was going on. Because I thought we were just gonna move the car about 5 feet off the highway. Nah, he just shot straight onto the highway and took off. So I get in my car and I tried calling him and he wasn't answering the phone. And I'm thinking like, okay, maybe he's not dumb. And he just moved off to the side of the road. And so I'm driving down the road and I see this little area. It's not really like a rest stop, but it's one of those areas where like they have like a paved part of the road for trucks to pull off to. I guess when they get too tired. And I'm just like, I'm looking over there and I spot a black car. And I see it and I'm like, okay, oh thank God, he stopped. So
Hold on.
I was like,
Ares was often called upon before the Spartans went into battle. Sacrifices were made in his name to solicit his blessing, and the Spartans chose their prisoners of war for this purpose. Once Kratos took his place as the new god of war, Sparta's devotion turned toward the one they saw as their own, save for a few staunch supporters of Ares. All right, go ahead.
So when I saw his car, I was like, oh, good, he stopped. And I was moving entirely too fast to be able to dip into the area. So I just figured, okay, it's fine. I'll just go to the next gas station and I'll fill up the gas can again and we can put some gas in the car. So I kept going. I get off at the next exit and I fill up the gas can. I pay. I get back into my car and I see that I have a missed call. And I called him back and he answers. And when he answers, I can hear like a lot of noise. And so I'm like, where are you? And he goes, I'm going home. And I'm like, wait, what? He's like, yeah, I'm on my way home. And I'm like, no, you're not. You're at a rest stop, aren't you? He's like, no. And I said, okay, so did you turn around? And he's like, no. Why would I do that? And I'm like, because you're not going home. You're and he's like, I'm not. And I'm like, no, you're not going home. And he's like, well, I didn't understand. And I said, okay, well, I need you to get off the road. Like, get off at the next exit. And he was like, well, I don't know where I am. I said, well, then read the sign. And he looks up and he goes, I'm going to Alabama. And so, like, it was at that point that I legit just, like, started yelling at him. And he was like, okay, I think something's wrong with my car. And then he hangs up the phone. So I called him back, and I said, where are you? And he's like, I'm at the Chevron. So I said, okay, stay there. I'm coming to get you. Stay there. And he was like, okay. So I looked up all of the chefs, and all of them are like 20 miles away. And I'm like, that's impossible that he got there. And I went into the gas station and I asked the attendant, I was like, do you know where the nearest Chevron is? And she was like, well, they're all like a ways away. Do you know which direction they're going? And I'm like, well, he said he's going to Alabama. And she's like, oh, well, that's probably the one in Ardmore. And so I look at the thing, and it's literally 20 miles away, and I'm just like, how did he do it? How? So I get back on the road, and I start traveling towards Ardmore, and I got a message from him that says, my wallet? Question mark? Because he couldn't find his wallet, and I was like, you probably dropped it in the field when you wandered into the darkness and fell. And so I told him I don't have it. And I just keep going. And I get to Ardmore. And I get to the Chevron. And he's not there. The Chevron is open. And so I pull up to a pump. And there's a lady there. And I ask her, I'm like, have you seen a black Hyundai? And she's like, no, I haven't. And so there's another gas station across the street, which is also open. And so I went over there thinking, okay, you saw a sign and that's where you thought he was. And he's not there. And so I called him again, and I can hear the same noise, just wind whipping. And I go, where are you? And he goes, I'm going home. And I said, what? How? And he goes, what do you mean? I told you to stay here. And he, again, well, I didn't understand. And I said, you didn't understand stay here? And he goes, your instructions were too difficult. And so I said, where are you? How do you even have the gas? And he's like, I just used some of the quarters I have in my car. What is happening? I think my stuff is messed up. Did I mess up my car? I'm legit just yelling at him on the phone. I was like, get off the road. What do the signs say? It says I'm going to Pulaski. Okay, get off at the next exit. Alright. So, I look at the map, and I'm like, okay, at least this time he's going in the right direction. So I get back on the highway, and Pulaski is 20 minutes away. I get to Pulaski, and I check the gas station. And guess who's not in Pulaski?
Yeah, about right.
So I call them again. Where are you? I'm going home. 40 miles? Where am I? Yes! Where are you? I think something is wrong with my car. You're probably out of gas again. Get off the road. Okay. Now tell me where you are. Exit 37 at the BP. Okay. Don't leave. So I'm driving down the road. I drive past the BP at exit 32, and I'm thinking, I swear if he misread the roadside. But I continued to 37, and there's his BP, and there's his car at pump 4. And so I pull up on the other side, and I get out, and I see him in the seat with the seat pulled all the way back, and he is passed out once again with the car still on. I open the door because somehow the driver's door just does not lock. It's not locked ever. Fun fact, he wrecked his car like 2 months ago, and my umbrellas were in his car, and he lost his keys like a week and a half ago. And I needed my umbrellas, and I asked him yesterday, I'm like, did you ever find your keys? And he's like, nope. And I was like, dang it, my umbrellas are in your trunk. And he's like, no, it's unlocked. And I was just, so your car's just been unlocked for the last 2 months? Just sitting in the parking lot? Yeah, the answer was yes. I go and I open the driver's door. He's in there passed out. His gas light is on, and there are a couple of other lights on, but I don't care. So I woke him up. I went inside. I bought a Coke, a banana, and I put $20 in his tank. And I got back to the car, and I made him drink the Coke. And I say, now, critical thinking let me down again. But at the same time, I was thinking, well, if he made it this far without dying, then it'll save us from having to come and get his car tomorrow. So when he drinks the Coke, he swears he's good and he's awake. So I said, okay, take out your phone, open maps, put in our address, and let it talk to you, and turn your hazards on. And he's like, why? And I said, so I can keep you in my sights at all times. And he goes, I feel like a baby. I wonder why. So, set off on the highway. He starts the trip on the side of the road before he realizes that he's not actually on the highway. And then he goes, he makes his way to the highway and then immediately swerves into the other lane. And by this time, the sun has come up, and I got a little worried because I was like, well, if the sun's up, then the police can definitely see him because he was swerving like a mother. And he was also going about 90, and it was starting to rain, and so I was like, oh, this is gonna end really badly. Until I saw him just take an exit. And I was like, what's happening? And so I followed him, and I followed him out off the highway, off the exit, and he just pulls into a gas station. And it's a big gas station, kind of like Pilot, where they've got a crap load of pumps. And he pulls into the gas station, and if you think about when we're going into Pilot, he turns right, and he makes a huge circle all the way around all of the pumps and pulls into the furthest one on the left side. And so I followed him, and I park behind him, and I get out of my car, and I walk to his car, and there he is once again, seat let all the way back, passed out. I open the door, I woke him up, and I'm like, what are you doing? He goes, I'm getting gas. So it was at that point that the fun and games were over. So I woke him up. I'm like, okay, you're done. And I made him park his car just on the side of this gas station. And I made him get into my car. And we set off down the highway home. We just left his car there. So when we're in the car, he's like, I think I lost my wallet. And so I'm like, yeah, I think you lost your wallet too. I think it's on the side of the highway. And he goes, what is wrong with you?
The gods forbid it. The gods have no power over me, Thanatos.
There's a
Where is my
There's a
brother?
lot wrong. He texted his friends because I guess they had messaged him, and it turned out that he had left his wallet under the kitchen table at his friend's house.
Or Ares' blood is not the only.
So that's another one where you're just like, how do you get this luck? And then he goes, I think I hit my head. I have a splitting headache. So it was about this time that I realized that I didn't pay attention at all to where we actually left this car. But I also didn't care.
Right.
Yeah. We are on the road. It took about 40 minutes to get home. He passed out. I parked. It's 7:30. 7:30 in the morning. I left my apartment at 3.
Yeah.
It's 7:30.
Yeah, when you said that the sun was coming up, I was like, you've been out here for 3 hours.
Yeah.
Now,
Park
to
the
be
car.
fair, he was an hour away. So
Mm-hmm.
It
And then
was
I
gonna be
chased him for an additional.
yeah, but it was gonna be like an hour. It was gonna be a 2-hour experience no matter what.
Mm-hmm. I didn't expect to go to Alabama though. So when I parked my car, I woke him. He wakes up, and he looks me dead in the eye, and he goes, Where's my car? And I just said, get out.
Yeah, that.
Get out of my car. Get out. And he looked at me. It was one of those freaking Matt Riddle moments because he just went, really? So he said he stumbled inside. He went straight to his room, and I grabbed a dry erase board because we have multiple, and I wrote in permanent marker, literally, what happened. And I said, your car is at a gas station at maybe about exit 50, about 40 minutes away. Your wallet is under somebody's kitchen table. If you ever do this again, I will either kill you or just leave you. You owe me. And I set it on his bathroom sink so that he wouldn't miss it. So the next afternoon, or a few hours later, I got up and I told him, let's go. And I wrote, here's where my mind was freaked. I thought that after reading the message and realizing what had happened, he would think he had hit rock bottom. He didn't remember anything. So in the car on the way, I gave him the business, and I made him pull up a map to where he actually ended up and where I had to chase him to. I told him that his friends were terrible because they let him leave. He insisted that they weren't bad friends, and they just couldn't stop him from leaving, apparently. He said they tried, and he had planned on staying anyway and had taken a bag and everything, but they got wasted, and he just left. His friends could have tried harder, though. Luckily for him, Siri told him where his car was. So that's where we went.
Jeez.
On the way, he mentioned having to get gas, and I had to remind him that I already put gas in. Then he commiserated about the choices that he's been making, and seemed to feel some regret. But when we got to his car, I didn't see him again until 1 a.m. when he came back home drunk and gave me all the cash he had on it.
Did you recently learn what the word commiserate means?
No. Why?
Because you used it twice tonight.
Did I?
Yeah.
No, this is what I wrote.
Okay.
Like a year ago, so. At some point I stopped reading and I was just talking, but then I started reading again.
Yeah, it'd be like that.
Because this is a very organized document. Like, I have his text in red and all of my text is highlighted in blue. I've even got the random gas station lady in green. I even put a map of the actual distance that I covered. It was 187 miles.
I didn't mean to. I thought.
Like, I literally could have driven back to Caruthersville.
Oh, my daughter.
Like, that's how much driving I did. Just to save this dude from getting arrested, because if I'd left him on the side of the road and the cops had found him in that state, he was going to jail.
We're currently
Mistakes. Am I in
dealing with King Midas.
I must be. Finally, I know what I must do.
Interesting. However, in the end, he did end up paying me over $100 for that.
It just sounds like so much.
Well, yeah, I didn't expect it to be that much. I legit was taking a gas can, enough gas for him to get to a gas station and get back home. Like you said, it was a 2 hours max originally. But to him and all of his garbage friends, that's a story that makes him legendary. I thought about turning it into a script, something similar to Joyride. But I thought maybe it's not appropriate in today's culture for me to be glorifying drunk driving.
Yeah, I would say that was kind of like the issue I had with it as a whole is because I'd imagine like it would have just been the smart move would have just been to have picked him up and came and got his car later, because that's why I was asking like for him to be passed out, POD'd in the car when you pulled up. He was already like that.
See, that was the plan. Remember, I said, let's move your car further off the highway. But he hopped in the car and took the F off.
Mm.
The plan was to leave the car and come back and get it the next day.
Oh my God.
But then when you had been driving for as long and as much, and we were as close to home as we were, and I'm like, well, he's driven this far, this wasted already. He can probably make it the rest of the way.
Because there's no way. Because he's been this lucky. He's been this lucky so far.
Yeah.
Usually, though, that's where your luck runs out. When you find yourself acknowledging how lucky you've gotten, and you start to think that, maybe I can just push my luck. That's usually when your luck runs out.
He told me he actually remembered hitting like 100 on the highway. And I'm just like, what is wrong with you, legitimately? Like, one, you didn't need to go that fast. Also, like, your car gets great gas mileage, because I legit just gave you 2 gallons of gas. That's it.
Oh.
Or at least this car got very good gas.
He could have died that night. And
yes, he could. And he thought it was a joke.
In theory, probably should have died that night. Like, or at the very least, like... Oh, man. Well, this is what
it came back to bite him months later.
How's that?
Because he no longer has the vehicle. He no longer has the motorcycle. He essentially no longer has a job, all because of his drinking. So.
But she's the bright spot in my life.
But at least he's got a girl, right?
I hate him so much. All right, that's gonna be it.
That's the winning combo right there.
That's gonna be it because this is a 50-minute episode. And I don't remember
I gotta go anyway.
I don't remember how long this game is. But I feel like we might have already got halfway through it. Because I have been tearing ass through this game.
Have you? Really? Is it that easy for you? Because you've been exclaiming like none at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I kind of know this game. Like even Pro Skater gives me a little bit of trouble, but I'm also like I'm playing a new game plus, which basically means Kratos is full powered, and so like all my weapons are maxed out. I'm just cutting through enemies, like 100% just cutting through enemies. So it's like boss fights aren't hard, nothing's difficult, and like even the puzzles I remember like on sight I remember them. Like that's the weird thing because like when it comes to games like this and like there's a puzzle or something. It's not that I've committed it to memory. It's just that, like, in the back of my mind somewhere, this, like, the image of what it is stored. So what ends up happening is I see the room or, like, I see the puzzle. I'm like, oh, I remember this. Like, and that's what happens. But if you was to, like, ask me last night to, like, talk about a puzzle from this game, I wouldn't have been able to tell you shit. But yeah, hopefully y'all enjoyed that. I did. I've never heard that story before. Like, I am upset with both of them because your bro should have just, like, robbed him and left him out there in the woods.
What was I gonna rob him of? The quarters in his back seat?
He didn't even have his wallet.
But he had a sack of change. He had a sack of change.
But I'm not gonna lie. Like, when you called him twice on the way there and he didn't answer, I just turned around. I said, fuck it. I just said, fuck it. Like, if he
that's the same situation that I had with Jordan, where Jordan was like, I would have done this, and I'm like, I couldn't, because I would have done the exact same thing if it was you. I would have kept going.
Yeah, and then that's kind of why, like, I think that's why Jay feels the way he feels, and it's why I didn't, like, question what you did, because, like, the thing is, like, Jay's whole thing about you moving to St. Louis, I keep trying to tell him, like, you need to let that go. That's not happening. He doesn't want
for real.
to do that. He doesn't want
you
to.
You know who I know in St. Louis?
Them.
That's it.
Yeah. And it's like, and I was like, you want him to move there because it would behoove you. Like, it would benefit you. And so like, I understand it, but he don't want to move there. Every time we come visit there, we hate it. Both of us hate it. Like, we don't go anywhere.
Oh, yes. I strongly dislike St. Louis as a city, yes.
Like, yeah, I don't like being there either. Like, I don't. Shit, hold on. Like, I like hanging out with him and, like, the people, but I don't like how long you have, like, I don't like the city. Like, the city annoys me.
Yes. Also, something I've told him is that, like, all of the friends that are there, like, you know, like, Patchy, Nate, Justin, like all of them.
They're all into stuff that you're
I have to tell him, I'm like, they're all more your friends.
Well, some of them are his family.
Like, yeah, some of them are his family, but they're all still more your friends. They interact way more with you. So most of the time, when it's going to St. Louis, I'm taking you there to see your friends.
Yeah, to see them.
Because anytime I've been by myself, I only hang out with Jordan. Because, I have no...
And it's not like an insult
no
or
relationship
anything. But even that, like, I think he fails to understand is, like, there's a difference between getting along and having something in common with somebody. Like, you don't game, you don't smoke.
I get along with them great.
Yeah, but you would be bored because the stuff that you like to do or talk about, like your passions, like you kind of, then you worked on making a movie in Nashville. So, like, which would have been possible in St. Louis, of course, but like the amount of networking you would have had to do would have been a bit more. And then like the having to deal with the traffic and the traveling, which you hate so much. So like, I understand, like, really he wants you to come there because he wants you to come there. I'm like, yeah, that's not happening. And I get why. And like, you're seeing it like he has to put up with this roommate. No, he doesn't have to. He chooses to. because he's built a
Right? Because I
rapport.
could kick him. I could kick him out at any moment.
Yeah, like you're not stuck with
But
him.
I mean, before he was my roommate, he was a work friend, and now knowing him like this, I do feel pity. However, he entertains me more than I feel pity.
Yeah.
And honestly, like anything he does isn't affecting my life. He's only ruining his own life.
Right,
So,
because like we've discussed like that at this point it's all entertainment. As shitty as that makes us
mhm.
sound, it's just entertainment. We find it all very funny, and like the cosmic joke of it all is kind of incredibly outstanding. Like how well like the cosmos could orchestrate something as bullshit as this. So like yeah, like I totally understand like the average person would have been like, yeah, I'm not doing any of this. But I think the problem with that is most people when they hear a story, they immediately decide what they would do in relation to this person they don't know, completely
Yeah.
usually ignoring the fact that the person telling the story and the other person involved in the story probably already have a relationship. And it's bad. Like it's the same reason that some people complain about their spouse but don't leave. It's like, yes, my wife is annoying, my girlfriend is annoying, this girl I'm pursuing is annoying. Why don't you stop talking to her? Because I like her. She annoys me, but she only annoys me because I like her so much. Like that's it. But yeah, take that with y'all because this video is almost an hour long. And who daddy? Oh, we're gonna get out of here because he gotta
She's
go,
free.
and I'm hungry. Peace out, y'all. Brittany, please don't do nothing weird. Don't make us regret freeing you. For the love of God, don't.